I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
It's every Red Raiders' favorite podcast. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Welcome back to Tech Talk on Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. Keep hitting us up on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Score predictions, Super Bowl menu items. Take it all. What do you have on the all menu this weekend?
You know what? On Tuesday night, I found out it was a. The hostess on this one is I'll do the food because everybody was like ready to get a dish. You know, I'll do the food and you can just chip in on the money. You know, like bring $10 a person or something. Like, all right,
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I like that so much more. I'll be honest. Than the hey, we're having everybody over. You want to come over? You're like, yeah, sure. It's like, hey, do you mind getting bring the cups or a couple bags of ice or like that. Not that it's hard, but I would much rather go, hey, here's $5 for $10.
Right.
Yeah. It's like buying your way into the old party.
Clint drops the get your own ice.
Yeah. I don't know why I find it annoying. I hate going and buying ice. This from Rachel. Monday following Super Bowl is the highest call-in sick day in the United States.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm saying the statistics are
What
leading
I'm talking
into
about.
it. Let's just do it. Let's put a stamp on it.
The gross domestic product is affected by this. Why can't we get that fixed? Move it to Saturday night. It used to be about the facilitating all the corporate events and stuff, but everybody talks about how that stuff is scaled down. Plus, I think there's less people than ever tethered to a 8 to 5 work situation. In other words, more people working from distance and stuff. So I don't know that some of the conversations around why that game is on Sunday rather than Saturday still hold up. I'm not saying there aren't still good reasons for it, but man, I wish it would move to that. It'd be good.
I'd be curious what the speaking of statistics, what the percentage of bosses calling out people calling in.
Yeah, they call it the Super Bowl
Yeah,
flu.
because this would be the worst Monday. Speaking of, it's going around to actually get the flu. Like, okay,
right,
sure, all right, yeah, you enjoy that sick day, and like, oh, you're calling in again on Tuesday, and like, yeah, I still have 103 degree fever. It's like, my bad.
All right.
Sorry.
Bring a doctor note. This is where everybody's like, bring a doctor note, because all the
steroid shot still hasn't kicked in yet.
That's what I thought after being gone, the 3 days after between Christmas and New Year's. And I'm good. We do Nashville, all that deal. And then
here comes Gus, just wanted more days off.
Yeah,
all
on the
right.
night of the first, I'm feel like, man, I'm getting sick. Wake up the next day, I'm bad, end up getting COVID and all that stuff. It's like, yeah, that was bad timing there. Picked it up from some breathing some nasty air down there in Nashville on Broadway, I guess.
You got into some of the bad hot chicken. It wasn't good.
And it was probably more airborne than hot chicken, but I tried to eat enough hot chicken to destroy all the microbes in that in the air, but it didn't work. I was trying to cook them little microbes,
spice
little viruses. I tried to spice them out, dude. I tried hard twice.
This is from Cameron. How about this? I'm so excited this year. My birthday it's February the 12th, and I asked off not realizing it was the day after the Super Bowl. So there you go. Cameron's ready to go. He can roll on Sunday. Monday after the Super Bowl should be a holiday. That from Robert. I have a question for what is the karaoke bar that you and Sneed like to frequent?
Talking to you?
Yeah.
The question was to you?
Yeah, to me.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So I don't know the answer to that. You could answer that if you wanted to.
I don't know.
Because I say that when I've asked Sneed, it's been a different place. And so that's why I'm sure there's one that he frequents over the others. But
isn't there one over there on Aberdeen, kind of by the mall?
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
Yeah, what's that one? Yeah, I think Chris goes to that one. I mean, I'm saying I don't think that's a surprise, but that's but like you said, that's and there's probably a lot of places that have a karaoke night, and I don't know that he's there every Tuesday or whatever.
No.
I don't think, but I don't know.
78% of all statistics are made up.
Stop.
That's funny. What about the churches on Sunday morning? The tithing would be way down. Come on, Viking. You're the son of a pastor. That's a good point. Bobby Hot Dogs says Clint likes to go admire the lot lizards at the Robin's Nest. It reminds him of the Kiowa County truck stop.
That truck stop you told us about.
Okay. We will give our official predictions at 4:30 today. But do you want some Super Bowl stats to get you by until we get there, Gus? All right.
Absolutely.
There is a new report that says Americans will spend an average of $189 on the Super Bowl, which is up from last year, which I guess the average was $124 more. But the part that I find interesting in this is that is $25 more than the average American plans to spend on Valentine's Day. Oh. So we have our priorities straight.
There
Football!
right there.
Yeah.
Football.
I don't need romance. I need touchdowns.
Dun, 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 dun.
Bum, 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 bum. Google, Gus, has put out a list of the most researched Super Bowl recipes. We'll see if you saw these. If you, at a Super Bowl party, if you'd be excited or...
I'm going with a dip. Is that a...
Oh, yeah, try to guess it. Yeah, try to guess.
Right, so
number
be specific.
Yeah. That'll be more fun.
I mean, because if it's just I could say queso, but do people really need a recipe?
You wouldn't.
For that?
No, I'll say this.
Like an avocado dip, maybe one of those things. It's got a little something like that.
Think of airplane cooking. Shrimp scampi. That's right.
Oh my god. Okay.
But this one's not, in a bathroom.
Okay.
So that's good.
Really, that's an
interesting
recipe.
Super Bowl food.
Huh.
Yeah. Followed by chili. People need help with their chili. That's the second one.
Yeah,
Meatloaf.
I could see that. I mean, I could see that. I just like, because chili go on hot dogs or
sure the
cold weather deal. You could be all up in the chili.
And
you don't have to be cold.
And I get not every single person knows how to cook chili, so that makes sense. How about number 3 is meatloaf? I don't really want meat. I'm fine with meatloaf. Don't get me wrong. In fact, it probably wouldn't shock you that this Midwestern over here has enjoyed meatloaf many a time. Not at the Super Bowl. What are you doing?
I know.
Yeah. Meatballs, sliders, sloppy joes, goulash is on this list. Pizza dough.
Got any gabagool on there?
Gabagool. Alfredo sauce, and then the number 10 on this list is cheesecake. I would enjoy cheesecake at my Super Bowl party. I would be in. And then last but not least, in a poll last year, 14% of Americans admitted they have zero understanding of football. I'm surprised that, I'll be honest, I thought that number could be higher or could be lower.
Yeah.
I don't really know. This on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We're having Italian meatloaf tonight. Delish.
Yep.
Oh, there you go. Again, I am not knocking meatloaf in any way. One of my favorite. Well,
it seems like Super Bowl party.
Yeah,
food.
it's not Super
party.
Bowl food.
That'd be the operative word.
Leftover meatloaf sandwich.
Oh, solid.
Mm-hmm. That's the move. That's the move. Kyler's laughing. I'm not joking.
I have never had a meatloaf sandwich. I don't mind meatloaf, but I've never had a meatloaf sandwich.
It's perfect. It's literally already the shape of bread when you cut it the right way, right? So I mean, you just heat it up. If you're getting real fancy, maybe you toast the bread, put some cheese on there, ready to go. Yeah.
That's solid. I wouldn't have thought of that. I like it though.
You can even, because I mean, the way we do it, this might be, way just too fancified on your meatloaf sandwich. I'm already in, so I'm just going to keep rolling with it.
Yeah, go.
We always do.
As Dickens used to say, got 3 hours.
Meatloaf is like the one meal that I really request or want spinach with. Like, I know it's not like the world's probably best vegetable out there or anything like that. But if you want to get real fancy, you can put a little bit of leftover spinach on there when you heat it up. I'm pushing Kyler away as I say this more in detail. He's literally backing away from the class. It's all right. I'm not going to make you eat it, Kyler. It's Tech Talk here on Double T 97.3. We'll go back in time when we return.
The podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It is Tech Talk here on Double T 97.3 and DoubleT973.com. Clint Scott, Dr. Mike Gustafson, Kyler Brown behind the glass. We are live from the First United Bank studio. 2 more hours with us as we take you all the way up to 6 o'clock. You can call us on the Visual Edge IT hotline. That number is 806-771-0973. Or you can hit us up on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Thoughts, comments, questions. If you want to give predictions for the weekend, you feel free to do that there. Take us anywhere with the mobile apps, brought to you by Happy State Bank. That's right, you can have Tech Talk on the go with the mobile app. We're also streaming live on Fox 34 News Now and on YouTube. Also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We got this on the Yates Flooring Center chat line from T-Money, Miss Chuck Key. He was my basketball seat neighbor. Really enjoyed talking with him during basketball season. He had to move up to the top level for health reasons, and Tech wouldn't let him keep his lower seats without paying for both of them and the handicap ones. This on the chat line from Lindale Jeff. Stubby Clapp, all-time baseball name team.
Yep, absolutely.
And this on the chat line. Had me with the meatloaf, lost me with the spinach. Fair. That's fair. Adding that to the old meatloaf sandwich. Now time. Nope. That Kyler's play of the day is in 10 minutes. Boy, I tell you what. We'll wait for it, where it's supposed to be. You do have a basketball game tomorrow, Gus, as you are hosting UCF for both the men's and the women's team. And, talked about this just a little bit in the first hour, but the Knights have surprised me with what they've been able to do in the Big 12 year one. Because it felt like when you had conference realignment for the Big 12, I had, for me, of the new four, for football, I said, yes, BYU, but I was leaning more towards UCF to make some immediate noise. And I still think, hey, let's look back in the 5-year window what UCF turns into. Because you look at, where they are for recruiting and then, success that they've already had. When you look at the relatively quick scale of growth that they have had, and then young fan base, all of this kind of going, young and growing fan base is what I should say. Mm-hmm. It felt like, okay, this is a football move, and then, they'll play basketball in the Big 12 as well. And year one, that's not been the case. And, they're not leading the clubhouse for anyone going, boy, watch out, in the second half of Big 12 play, the Knights could really make a move and maybe go grab a 3 seed. I still have them missing the tournament, but the fact that they just have a valid and competitive Big 12 team that can beat anybody has really, honestly shocked me.
They have, I agree, and it probably been a pleasant surprise. Let's face it, we're 72 hours away from trying to match them in one regard, because they've beaten Texas and OU as we have, both on the road, but they also beat Kansas, mm-hmm. And that's what we'd love to do here in about 72 hours. 42, 72. And now they may have lacked a little consistency in their time, but they 2 really good guards, a viable big man, a lot like we are. It'll be a good day to get Warren Washington back. It sounds like we will. Hopefully, rest and replenished and all those things. But yeah, I'm with you. They're for the team that we all sort of unanimously felt like was, at the very bottom of the league. They haven't ended up doing that, and then they pulled off, maybe the surprise of the season, at least the early part of the season, when they knocked off Kansas at home in a game in which Kansas had a 15-point lead, and so they're
and that was their conference opener,
Yeah.
their first home game in the Big 12,
right? And just and they've got students dumping on the floor and the whole thing, just a signature moment for that program, and because at least maybe not in 2024. You think about the 2024 Big 12, it feels like that conversation runs through Houston, maybe more so than Kansas and Baylor, but. Beating any of those three is an accomplishment. But just when you think Big 12 hoops, the one that's won the league umpteen years and so many times and all that, and that's who they knock off in their first home Big 12 game. Like that had to feel like, hey, this new league's gonna be a lot of fun, and. And so they're far from being the dregs of the league.
That was a moment where, boy, they really might. And Oklahoma State, but just looking at that, going, well, there really might not be a true bottom to the league,
right?
Which is wild with just how good it is. If you want to say top half, because it's not really a top half, because it's just all so scrunched together and razor thin margin wise as it stands right now. And I think that will, for the most part, still be the case when you play this back nine of games, or I guess if you're a couple other teams in the Big 12, your last 8. But I say that, and this is a game you need to get on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
You need to beat the Knights. Offensively, they've got, like you said, they've got some really nice pieces for sure. Jalen Sellers is legit. He's a guy that you see. Mm-hmm. More of a guy that can drive and find his way to the rim, create his own shot, but not like it's turned into now when you think of an offensive threat from a a guard standpoint. It's like, oh man, he must be lethal from the outside, and that's not the type of player he is. Your on the ball defense on him is going to have to be really, really good. And I also think that that's a big key to winning is what can you do with him to start, because so much goes around him with when UCF's been able to score, and that's been the issue for the Knights in conference play, is they don't score a ton. In fact, in conference play, they have the lowest total of anybody, but they're so good defensively that that's where they've kept teams in check. And so as I know there's still the health side too. Everyone's available, but what does that mean? Where are we? But if you are getting closer to form, what can you do against their defense? Can you move the ball in the half-court offense? Can you find some open shots? Can you get back to what you look like in your first 5 to 6 games in conference play? And I think that's going to be a key because you're not locked into the tournament by any means. You could absolutely play your way out, and on top of it, you're trying to end a 3-game skid. But I think right now, what you're looking at is your playmakers. Speaking of playmakers, I think you need a continued good performance back-to-back from Joe Toussaint, because he looked closer to form after he had a couple games where he was struggling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for a big game from Pop. And I'm looking for a big game from Warren Washington. Get kind of what can be a 3-headed monster. And then if you have a great shooting performance from Kerwin Walton, or, I expect a solid performance from Darian Williams at this point.
Yeah,
just kind of get his numbers. But if you have another game where you add in a Chance McMillan who goes off, that's gravy. But I think you need your kind of stars on the team to be stars on Saturday to get momentum back in the season. And to get a win.
Yeah, I agree. Heat up that arena tomorrow and get a dub.
It's Tech Talk on Double T 97.3.
The podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3. Presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Welcome back to Tech Talk on Double T 97.3, DoubleT973.com. Clint Scott, Dr. Mike Gustafson, Kyler Brown behind the glass. We will have a couple different high school basketball games for you tonight, 7:30 here on Double T 97.3. Friendship Boys at San Angelo Central. Lubbock Cooper boys are on the road as well. They're at Abilene Cooper. That's at 7:30 over on 100.7 The Score. Now that it is the correct time, it is Kyler's play of the day.
Got to squib kick it, force them to have multiple laterals. and then stay in your lane. There is the squib. It bounds in front of the receiver. Clock now. They're going to throw it across the formation, and it is caught over there now, slipping, and the Chiefs will tackle him. This game is over. This game is over. You can doubt the Chiefs. You can dislike the Chiefs. You can disrespect the Chiefs. You're going to have to deal with the Chiefs as the AFC champions. And for the third time in 4 years, the Lamar Hunt Trophy, the trophy named after this franchise's founder, is back in Kansas City where it belongs. What a gutsy victory. Grab a bucket of guts. The Chiefs are going to end the season where they began the season, in Glendale, Arizona, and Super Bowl 57.
I don't know about y'all, but I feel like I could run through a brick wall right now. That little radio call's got me nice and hype. That was from last year's AFC Championship victory for the Chiefs. As they look to now this year, instead of 3 out of 4 Super Bowls, they've made it to 4 out of 5 Super Bowls and are trying to become the first to win back-to-back since the 02-03 Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's been about that long.
Yeah, because it's been right at that 20-year mark. And I do think that's something interesting because now that Patrick Mahomes is in that category, I'm not saying he is there yet, but trajectory-wise, we're throwing around, hey, could he be greatest quarterback of all time? Some are already making that argument. I think you need to wait a little bit to see what the rest of the career is like. But, I mean, he's, I would say, probably in everyone's top 10 already. As far as that conversation goes, though, the legacy conversation, yes, it's a Super Bowl, right? So it's going to be a big part of that conversation on Sunday. But I think what Kyler's saying right there, the back-to-back, and like, okay, well, now, he and Tom Brady have done this, and you're trying to do the comparison because that's who you're comparing him to right now, right? Is Brady. I think that is something that if you are heavily invested in the legacy-wise Mahomes chasing Brady, there's several different things that go into that, and it's not just Super Bowls. But having a back-to-back Super Bowl win would certainly be just another feather in the cap in that discussion. And
I think 3 this early in his career would match Aikman and Brady. 3 this early. Now Bradshaw's got more, but Bradshaw's came a little bit later in his career. But yeah, I mean he's right on the cusp of being. I think in terms of style points and just impact, he's already done the sort of things that if anyone is talking about this era, sort of sandwiched around COVID, the COVID year, if you will, however we choose to remember this. I don't think anybody would deny that this has probably been the best player of his era, which is for any Hall of Fame. And by the way, the NFL Hall of Fame named their class last night. We might talk about that a little later.
Right. We also have some NFL awards we'll get
perfect.
into
there
as
you
well.
Go. It was a good night last night for that kind of stuff. But, and that's a big deal for any Hall of Fame is was he the best player or among the best players in his era? Or was he the best whatever, pitcher, goalie, offensive tackle, whatever it is? And I don't think anybody would say that Patrick Mahomes wasn't among the defining players in his time. And I say all this as if if his career ended on Sunday, has he done enough to get to Canton? Maybe. Probably is what I would think.
I think yes.
Yeah, I think so too. But at the same time, I want, for his sake, I hope there's, another good 10 years and more of these type days. But yeah, his, it's there's some legacy involved in it for sure.
On the other side, if we're talking about legacy, you already have an incredibly interesting quarterback story with Brock Purdy and how many times we've thrown out, Mr. Irrelevant. And then on the other side, the naysayers of, is it just the system though? And I think it can be both, right? Because does Shanahan run a quarterback-friendly offense? Yes. Does he have tremendous weapons around him? Yes, no doubt. But still, that thing has been in place on those, and they haven't got it done, right? I mean, if they were to win, and I get you'd probably have to wait to see what that looked like, but still, like for Brock Purdy, you already know like that's the guy in San Francisco right now, and the rookie contract that he's on, that is most likely going to look a lot bigger here in a year or two for San Francisco, because he's making like $800,000 or something this season, which, you know, when you look across the way. And to be fair, I mean, Patrick Mahomes won his first one on a rookie deal. Now, I think the year that he won it, he was at $1.5 million that year, so it's still almost doubled even then what Brock Purdy is making this year. But you know, there's nothing wrong with being a quote-unquote game manager and winning a lot of games. I just think Purdy is still a little bit more than that. Like, let me go back to the NFC Championship game. He's making some plays with his legs that the quote-unquote game manager does not make. Because to me, the game manager goes, okay, is the play there? No. Is option 2 there? No. Get rid of it. Mm-hmm. Like the game manager to me doesn't make the extra plus plays, and Purdy does that. But we knock it because he can't do everything that Patrick Mahomes can do, or he can't do everything that Lamar Jackson can do. But show me who can.
Yeah, different. That's a different level there.
Because when you look even at the two, and I'm just saying those two at the start of the conversation. Just look at Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. There's things that Lamar Jackson can do that Mahomes can't. There's things that Mahomes can do that Jackson can't. So, like, to look at that and then knock Purdy, I think is a little bit unfair. But at the same time, I know he's got a ton of talent around him. I just think that Purdy does have a little bit of playmaking ability where you're just going of the label game manager, bus driver, whatever you want to say, is a little bit unfair with what he's done this year, and only in his second year in the league.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. That what he's done goes beyond manager. I mean, the biggest thing he can do is and that's easy to say, but the biggest thing he can do is just stay out of turnovers. Mm-hmm. Because he is able to extend plays and do some things, and like create some problems. And he had a couple of back-breaking runs against the first down getters against the Lions that did that game, took care of that game, and it's such a fascinating story, man. Mm-hmm. It's the last player taken in the draft, just amazing. Everybody passed on him. And the same team for whom he is playing in a Super Bowl traded up to get a guy at his position. Yeah. Like, Purdy was the throw-in at the end of the draft because their guy was Trey Lance. Yeah. And now Trey Lance is the backup quarterback for the Cowboys. Which the Cowboys may have gotten him for a bargain too. Time will tell. But, it's just amazing. Like, Lance didn't click, and Purdy gets on the field, and away they go. And even
if you add into that triangle like Garoppolo, just an extra piece to go. Like, Purdy is the one who won that, because again, Garoppolo's had injuries. I get it, and no one's going, that's a top 10 quarterback in the league. But that was a guy that took them to the first Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
And if we're being honest, was 2 inches of an overthrow away from winning that Super Bowl. So it's just interesting how that team has worked out.
Yeah, no doubt.
When we come back, speaking of the Super Bowl, I've got some picks for us to make, all right? And it's not just scores, so we'll get into all of that next here on Tech Talk. You got us on Double T 97.3.
It's every Red Raiders' favorite podcast. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Happy Friday. It is Tech Talk. You've got us on Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. Clint Scott, Dr. Mike Gustafson, Kyler Brown behind the glass, taking care of us. Currently watching a very young Uncle Rico that I had no idea was young Uncle Rico.
On Martin.
Yeah, how about that?
Martin. Yes, sir.
Go football over the mountains. All right, I've got a list here for you guys to pick for the Super Bowl, okay? We're going to see how we do. Now, we did this for the AFC and NFC championship games. And out of all 6 selections between both games, Gus, you and I got both right. Kyler was 1-1. He took Baltimore, shunned the non-believer. But we did pretty good as a group. So I've got a little bit longer list that we'll breeze through with some prop bets on here too.
Right.
Now, modified prop bets a little bit because like one of them with the national anthem, I did not like the number that was set. So stuff like that. So we'll jump into it, okay? First, very important. Gus, will it be heads or tails for the coin toss?
Tails never fails.
All right. Kyler?
Same. Tails never fails.
Okay. This is kind of like the warm-up one to get us into...
Nice. Get us in the mood.
Yeah. You know what? Just to be different, I'll take heads. It's not really a rhyme that goes with it that's fun. You could rhyme something with it, but not something that's popular. All right. Gatorade bath color. Now, on the odds, the leader was actually clear, which I think was the first time it's been clear for the leader in the clubhouse there. Winning coach Gatorade bath color. Gus?
I'll go with orange.
Solid. Kyler?
I'll go yellow, the lemon lime.
Oh, kind of the standard.
I don't buy into actually saying the flavor. You can just stick with yellow. It's like blue, whatever. I'm speaking of blue. I'm gonna go blue. I'll take it there. How about Reba, our girl Reba McEntire, by the way, doing the national anthem. This is the one I adjusted. This was at over under 90.5 seconds, but since 2000, important stats here, the average has gone 115.4 seconds. So there's your over under for Reba's national anthem.
115.4, so it's just shy of 2 minutes.
Yes.
And what are you asking me for over under?
Over under on it.
On
her going over 115 seconds or under.
She cut her teeth singing the anthem. That's how she got famous. That's how she got discovered, was singing the anthem. So I'll say somebody who a little bit older, probably, because I think the more traditional delivery is a little more straightforward and quick. So I'm going under.
Yeah, a little less pauses there in between line
and
to
a little
line.
less. What do you call it? Rolling. Oh, that kind of a deal.
That was beautiful.
I could see Reba dragging it out a little bit, kind of just going just a little bit over. I think 115 seconds is crazy though. I didn't know that's the average of the past. What'd you say?
Since 2000.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'll take the over. I think she might drag it out a little bit.
All right, Gus and I are rolling together. I will take the under as well. All right, how about the first person to score a touchdown in the Super Bowl?
So not team, but player.
Player.
I'll go with my man, number 10, Chiefs. Crap. Running back from Rutgers.
Wait for it. I want to wait for it because I was going to go Pacheco too, but I'll go
Pacheco.
Yeah.
Well, then flip it. I'll go to what's his name? I'll go to the 49ers.
Going CMC.
Yep.
All right, little McCaffrey action.
I'll get us a little variance there.
Okay, Kyler.
I'm gonna go to big man Travis Kelce.
Nice.
I think he's probably the betting favorite to score the first touchdown, but I think Kelce would be.
You're a gentleman and a scholar, Gus. I will take Pacheco.
That's good. No, that's good. Yeah, I'll flip it. I'll go CMC. Yep.
I always like taking the running back there on that one.
Well, yeah, you never know.
Yeah. Okay, Gus, total number of turnovers between both teams.
4.
4. Oof.
4 was going to be my number 2, but I'm going to go 3.
Tyler's going 3. I'll go down 1. I think both teams are going to play pretty clean.
Ooh, nice. I like it.
I do. Especially Mahomes. Just feels like he, in big games when he's needed to, he has. Although he did throw an interception to the 49ers in the first Super Bowl. So I'll go 2. All right. Now I need a score and a winner, Gus. Official Super Bowl prediction for Dr. Mike Gustafson.
Let's see. We'll go 28-27 Chiefs.
I think I'm going to go 27-24 Chiefs.
Clint's about to go 52-3 Chiefs. Clint about to be on
I still don't trust the offense that much, Gus.
All right.
It has gotten better. I will take Kansas City as well. I'm going to combine your 2. I'm going to go Kansas City 28, San Francisco 24. And then last but not least, I need a MVP.
Our man, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, figured this might be a sweep.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a sweep. I'm going to take Patty.
All right. I am not going to
See,
differ from you guys.
as you typed there, did you see one of the media people asked him in one of the media availabilities what his favorite drink order was at Chimmy's?
Yeah.
Like the Super Bowl media. It was, I don't know, somebody with some tech connections or probably Big 12 connections or whatever. He's like, well, more of, what talking about going to mesquites and, more of a Coors Light guy. Like, man, you just got your free commercial there if you're Coors Light.
Well, and I'm sure that like he probably, it seemed like he's like, don't ask me stuff like this. I'm trying to focus fun. But everybody else that's in the little half crescent moon circle of media going like, what's a mesquite? What a stupid question.
Yeah, I think those. I think they're sort of programmed to be. There may be some. How do you stop Christian McCaffrey? Down the middle of football questions.
Enough of those.
Yeah, because Kelsey got some Taylor Swift questions, and just all that kind of stuff, and it's just they've probably come to get used to that, and then because the TV networks and certainly the broadcasting network, and some of them will probably get their access where they can do the sit downs and the one-on-ones and the the little more serious line of questioning. Media availability is probably for radio, and however that works, Westwood One and all. And so I think the big media availabilities like you're talking about, they end up being, what's your favorite sandwich? And it's, we're all right, we'll go ahead and do this. Because it's not an infinite deal. It's going to be for, 30 minutes or whatever.
Have you ever had a leftover meatloaf sandwich before?
Yes.
Get this guy out of here.
The guy from Mullinville.
This from Sam. Clint, I think they changed the over-under on Reba to 95 seconds today. Still too low. I still think that over-under is too low. It needs to be 100 and up because I feel like that is going to be a gimme, especially the original one. If you got in on the 90.5 seconds action, if it has gone on to 95, which I trust Sam. I hope you've, by the way, gotten some pib in your life lately, Sam. The 90.5 felt like a gimme. Even I was sitting there like, boy, should I put some money down on this? Dear wife, how much do we have in savings?
Yeah.
Because I'm about to multiply it. It is Tech Talk here on Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. Rolling right along. Back with more next.
The podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3. Presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Hour number 3 of Tech Talk. You've got us on Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. Clint Scott, Dr. Mike Gustafson, Kyler Brown behind the glass taking care of us. We are live from the First United Bank studio. You can call us on the Visual Edge IT hotline. That number is 806-771-0973. Or you can hit us up on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Thoughts, comments, questions, predictions for the weekend. We will take those there. Take us anywhere with the mobile apps, brought to you by Happy State Bank. We're also streaming live on Fox 34 News Now and on YouTube. Feel free to follow us on Facebook and Twitter if you would like to keep up with all the shenanigans that happen here at the Raymar compound. Gus, couple different things that we learned yesterday. One, we got our NFL awards in.
Big night.
And if you're a Texans fan, real good night.
I would, it's at least in terms of a good night plus a something that points forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they might have been the winners because Will Anderson wins Defensive Rookie of the Year, C.J. Stroud Offensive Rookie of the Year. You're talking about edge rusher Will Anderson Jr. from Alabama, and then C.J. Stroud quarterback, of course. But yeah,
and you didn't need those, I guess, if you're a Texans fan, to be like, yeah, we nailed those picks.
Oh yeah,
but still to see go back to making those picks to now. Getting those awards and be like, yeah, they nailed it, and they know that you nailed it.
Sure.
And you've got 2 stars on both sides to really build around.
And being the dregs of the league the last couple of years, and not just flipping that out of hey, they were 500 or whatever. Getting into the playoffs and look like a dangerous team. And if they put together another good draft, and not saying it'll be C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson level of impact, but feels like that's trending in a pretty good direction there. And any time you have a effective quarterback on a rookie contract that allows you to build a roster around it while that guy's getting paid, whatever that rookie contract money is, which is a pittance compared to what it'll be. Because most of these decent starting, like a C.J. Stroud level of production is going to be a whatever $30-ish million player, not whatever he's getting, $2 million or $3 million or whatever.
I wouldn't say it's at the top of the list of things that I'm going to pay attention to when it's draft time and just in the off season, but still, whatever the Texans do draft wise, the route that they go, I'm certainly curious in, because they've got young receivers. So, and then a Dalton Schultz, what do they do with him? Because I think his was just a 1-year deal, if I have that correct. And then how attractive are they to free agents, and how aggressive are they going to be? Because in the draft conversation, I mean, if you hit another, of the level of C.J. Stroud or Will Anderson, with whatever position you get, that's great. But you don't need it to be all the way up to that, right? You just need to add talent around them, because to your point, you have your cornerstones on both sides right now, and they're both on rookie contracts. So I'm very curious what's at the top of their list. We really need to target this.
And it's a defensive head coach. This time last year, he was a D coordinator for one of these 2 Super Bowl teams, the 49ers. So you got to believe that D'Amico Ryans is going to meet that side of the ball head on. It's probably in his DNA for that.
Your other awards: Lamar Jackson, 2-time NFL MVP. Not a massive surprise there. He was the odds-on favorite. How about the comeback player of the year? I've seen some arguing of all the arguing, I've seen arguing over this one the most. Because your winner was not DeMar Hamlin from the Bills. It was Cleveland Browns quarterback Joe Flacco. And what I think is interesting with this award is I don't really have it defined, right? Is it, hey, what did you come back from, or what did you do this year when you came back? Because if it's what you came back from, it's hard not to say DeMar Hamlin. If it's what you did on the field, then I think which I think is what it is more supposed to be for, then it's absolutely Flacco, playing dad to playing quarterback again.
Sure.
Sleepy Joe on the sideline, falling asleep, going, this is usually my bedtime, after going up on teams, which was hilarious. But that of all the controversy from NFL awards, that has been the one I've seen the most arguing back and forth on.
Yeah, I think it's probably the most excellent performance of someone who wasn't excellent last year, rather than there's an inspirational
Almost
aspect,
dying.
most certainly. But yeah, I mean, Hamlin wasn't even active for a bunch of the games this year.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't think that's not the spirit of that award, and I don't think it is across any of the Big Four sports when they give those type things. Certainly in baseball, it's not. It's going to be the guy who had a big year this year after last year being out or whatever else. By the way, it looks like Houston's 23rd pick, Cowboys 24th. So, as you would expect, maybe the playoffs can drop down into the list a little bit. I thought Myles Garrett winning the Defensive Player of the Year was some. Not that I'm concerned about his validating him, but he looked like the player who everyone thought he'd be this year. Mm-hmm. What he did was special, and because that was what he was first player taken in the draft. Am I right about that? Yeah, he was drafted 1-1, and it didn't just crystallize immediately. Like, I mean, my recollection of this could be wrong, that he wasn't as impactful out of the gate as what Will Anderson was this year. But over time, Myles Garrett has gotten after it in a way that everyone thought he would be, this type edge rusher and a disruptor. But he was more than just his sack numbers, and that's and he's elite at that.
And that was, I guess, if you're going to go argument, that was the argument against him, right? It's like T.J. Watt had better numbers. Mm-hmm. Just have to go with the impact side. I wouldn't have been up in arms either way. I think I probably would have went with T.J. Watt. Mike Parsons clearly in this conversation too, but not enough to me be like, I can't believe they gave it to Myles Garrett. What were they thinking? But like with Myles Garrett, to your point, like he came out of the gate and has been a good player, and has had, I think, shown flashes and then started to put up numbers. But the problem with Myles Garrett is a lot of that anything good has been overshadowed recently, because when you think of Myles Garrett, what's the first thing you think of?
Right, the helmet deal.
You think of him swinging a helmet at Mason Rudolph and going, dude, you could have... Mm-hmm. Speaking of dying on the field, could have just
But he was clearly the best player on the best defense in the NFL, and that probably had a lot to do with it. And down the stretch, he was outstanding for that team as they were winning the games that got them in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, no big uproar on anything.
Yeah, we can kick it. Yeah, we can kick it around on the NFL. I shouldn't say NFL, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Their class was named last night as well. So we can run through that a little bit as we go along here in our last hour of the show.
And get your questions in, too. 5:45, it's Ask Tech Talk. We'll take all of those then. Up next, it is The Juice, and then we will go to that Hall of Fame class. We'll talk a little more Texas Tech basketball, as well as they have a game at home against UCF tomorrow. Back with more next.
This has been the Tech Talk Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.